Hey, this is Jed with Ambient Array. So recently a client came to me and asked me the difference between geofencing and geotargeting. That's a pretty easy thing to get confused. And I thought, you know what, let me make a video. Some of my other customers and people that haven't even worked with yet might want to know more about that. So let's start with geotargeting. That's just a general term that means having to do with when you're targeting a specific geography that you want to expand into. And that could be as specific as a zip code. It could be a city. It could be radius around a point, like an address or a latitude, longitude. Okay. That's geotargeting. Very simply put, it just means you're showing ads. Usually it's used in the context of advertising, showing ads just in the areas where you're geotargeting. Okay. And geotargeting, by the way, can be done with Facebook ads, Google ads, LinkedIn, you name it, TikTok, etc. Geotargeting. That's awesome. It's a very general term, but it can be a very, very good way to use your money wisely, because why spend money on targeting areas that you're never going to actually want to do business, or that may not be the best place to convert new business. So what is geofencing? Geofencing is a more specific technology. It is a form of geotargeting, but we don't want to confuse the two, so we'll call it geofencing. It really is its own animal. So with geofencing, what you're doing, instead of targeting a whole zip code or a radius or a city or a state, you actually are targeting a specific building or a park or a stadium or a convention center, okay? And usually you don't just do one. Unless it's like a trade show, you might actually geofence a trade show for 3 or 4 days, and I'll explain how that works in a second. But more often you'll geofence maybe competitors. You might say, hey, people are walking into my competitors' offices and buildings. Why not put a geofence around those? And if someone walks into those buildings during business hours usually, then we will actually be able to tag their phone with an invisible tag, and then they'll start receiving ads from your business, and this, or my clients, if I'm doing on behalf of my client. Now your business is now getting in front of your competitors' customers. That's a great way to be right where it's most relevant. So geofencing is a very specific invisible geofence that you put up around a dozen or 200 or even 500 of your competitor locations or other types of businesses. We can also do it for trade shows. So let's say, going back to the trade show example, if you had, let's say, a 3 or 4 day trade show in Vegas or any state or any city in the country, we could set up a geofence just during the 3 or 4 days of the trade show, and then we can retarget those ads for the next 30 days or 60 days, meaning even after those people that went to the trade show go home or go back to their work or wherever they go, we can actually follow them around with additional ads that show up not only on their mobile device, but also on their desktop, because we're able to do what's called cross-platform tracking. So that's geofencing in a nutshell. They're both excellent methodologies. Specifically, we tend to use the general geotargeting for Google ads, Facebook ads, etc. Geofencing will set up a dedicated banner ad campaign to geofence either your competitors or places where your customers are likely to be. And we will then geofence them for whatever period of time makes the most sense. Usually it's a couple of months, something like that. So contact us. We do both types of targeting, but they're both very different methodologies depending on what you need. If you're not sure which one you need, just reach out to me on my website, and you and I will talk about the best option for your business.